Quiet on set.
Roll camera.
Sound speed.
Mark, please. And action.
Welcome back to Students in Focus. I'm Katie, student producer at the Utah Education Network. This week we spotlight Wayra Arias, a student producer and peer mentor from the PitchNic class at Spy Hop Productions. PitchNic is Spy Hop's year-long filmmaking program, where participants and their teams create 4 short films, 2 fiction and 2 nonfiction. We'll also talk to Loren Brunken, a nonfiction film mentor at Spy Hop Productions. Loren has been sharing her expertise with PitchNic students for 3 years now. I got to talk to Wayra all about her experience in being selected to direct one of the nonfiction films from last year's PitchNic class, Sunflower Bebop. The documentary follows 3 artists on the journey to becoming unique individuals through their music.
My mom got me into Spy Hop, and it was because I didn't have a lot of friends here. I just moved from Texas, and she was looking for creative classes for me where I could learn but also have a community. It was one of the film classes. It might have been like poetry through film, and it was just a couple days, and then after that I kind of just let go, forgot about Spy Hop, and did my thing until I was like 18, and Monza reached out to me again, and he told me about PitchNic and how, I don't know, I should try and interview for it. So I did, and yeah, they're very like outreachy, like they care, and I could tell he cared, and the fact that he still remembered me and stuff just meant a lot, and yeah, it changed my life. PitchNic for me changed, like it was during COVID. I would just growth, like that's a word that comes to mind when I think of PitchNic, and it just, there was so much, I just jumped into being a filmmaker, you know, and going through each process. The background of Sunflower Bebop is, let's just go back to the name of it, sunflowers. Like sunflowers are flowers that turns towards life. And there's like musicians and these artists that have 2 things in common. They all came from the Mormon religion, growing up Mormon, and they're musicians. And sunflowers go towards life, and I feel like these musicians are a lot like that. They are going towards something that fills them with life. I started off with like a crew. It was pretty stable, but kind of fell through quickly. PitchNic is a year-long class, and so much happened in all of our lives in that year, especially for the director. Just a lot happened in his life that he just wasn't able to make it, and a lot of classes he couldn't make it because of life issues. So it ended up just being me and this other guy producing it. I really got the idea and I ran with it when they needed an artist. I found an artist, like my friends and stuff like that, and ended up most of the artists were my friends. And even the B-roll, I just grabbed the camera, chose some models, and like went out just kind of by myself and shot those scenes. And eventually Loren and Monza kind of saw that, and they were like, pulled me aside and they were like, hey, like we want you to get the credit. So would you like to be a director? And I was like, yeah, I would love to. Nothing really changed. Like I was already kind of doing that stuff, you know. It was such a serious and like deep topic we were going over, and still we found like silliness, and it was a fun process, if that makes sense. So it was a mixture of both, and it changed so much. There was so much change that happened throughout it, but the idea was pretty grounded, you know. We just wanted to show musicians, and like I said, like the directors changed, the idea kind of all changed, but I think the message like still came through. For me, one of the challenges was it's hard for me to ask for help for things. And I learned in film, you really can't do it by yourself. You need other people, and they make it better. And it was just hard for me because I did need help, and I eventually asked for help, like with editing and stuff like that. And that's when it started falling together perfectly. I think what I got out of Sunflower Bebop was so many things, but one of them was documentary work, and I saw like the beauty in it and how much we can do. Like there's so much people haven't done. You can get very experimental with it, and I didn't know how kind of experimental I could get with documentary. You think of documentary, you think of like a sit-down interview and these classic steps that we've seen so much, but it can fluctuate so much, and I saw that there's still so much you can do in that, and I want to go further into that in documentary making. Go with the flow. That's what I've learned a lot, is that a lot changes in production and post of filmmaking, that it's good to have a grounded passion and to remember how that feels, and always return to that, but be very open-minded because a lot can change.
Songs are connected to feelings, and feelings are connected to memories, and memories are connected to yourself. You know, they're just extensions of yourself. They're your past selves, right? They could boost you so high, you have no idea. The vibrations are high in all music. You just gotta be listening for them.
The emotion that comes with creativity is like, well, it's happy. That's like being in a flow state. I get so happy when when I come up with something that works and feels good and that I know is right. That's the best feeling. When I first started making music, it was when I was like thinking about God and wondering if all of the religion stuff was real.
My self-journey on kind of how I ended up from church girl to this girl, I think it started around 12 when I solidified the fact that I am queer, you know, and that, of course, as everybody knows, comes with a little bit of self-hatred for a while. This is kind of what happens. It's natural in nature, and it's been natural since the beginning of time. Eventually, I was able to start practicing my own individualism, you know, separating myself from a group, from all groups, honestly, and becoming an individual, figuring out how to tap into myself, you know, my spiritual being. And that's when the separation from the church really got big. That's when I realized I can't keep faking everything, you know?
Right now, I would say I don't think God has a body or has a form, because I see that as kind of limiting. Because me, as who I am, with all the characteristics of who I am, where I'm from, what I look like, my sexual orientation, I can't approach a white man the same way. Like it's not equal for everybody. So once I put a body on it or a certain image around that, then it's no longer equally approachable. To me, the highest power we have is, it sounds cheesy, but is love.
Be quiet.
listen to every note that my heart has to sing. Because if I don't, well, she'll keep on leaving over and over in my head, probably till I'm dead.
Until I was like realized I was queer and started actually dating people I was interested in, I did not understand love songs. Like I just thought they were sappy, or they didn't resonate with me. And then once I like really loved somebody, or even just had a genuine crush and like wanted to hold somebody's hand for the first time, it was like, oh, I get this. And then I wanted to start writing about it. Come to me, forget about hypocrisy, love untrue, worthy of silence, bent in shape, walking to heaven's gate.
I was really, really nervous because this is the early days when I first started practicing with them. I went over there and I started playing just a groove. They all kind of added on to that, you know, played a game of like add on, and then that actually became 3 songs that were our first songs as drag.
To get through that like really difficult period where like you have to use your brain a lot to connect your body to whatever the concepts you're learning. I remember hitting a point where it was like it just clicked and just starts like flowing, I guess, and it's pretty spiritual, honestly.
I feel most creative in the world when I have enough time to like sit and dream about things. The dreaming part of creation is like the best part of it. The doing it gets tough, but imagination's a cardinal sin, but I let it in. I lose myself thinking what you'd say. I wish you would hold me. Floating in my mind, something I couldn't find, even if you were in front of me. Should I cry? I can't decide. You're just a thing in my mind. Yes, I can see it's killing me, my favorite fantasy. But I think the worst thing of all would be to stop remembering. How will I know your face when you go away? Unless I visualize it. All my friends say I'm insane, obsessed with the thing in my brain.
I also got the opportunity to talk with Loren Brunken, the nonfiction film mentor for PitchNic. Loren is a film artist based in Utah who started her career as a screenwriter. With a BFA in media arts, she transitioned to freelance editing for several years and now teaches at Spy Hop as a mentor for film-inspired youth.
My role as a film mentor at Spy Hop is a range of things depending on the class that I'm teaching. For our year-long filmmaking program, PitchNic, I am the nonfiction film mentor. So me and the fiction film mentor, John, take the kids, the students, through an entire year. And we co-facilitate, but we also have our main responsibility over 2 of the films each. So we kind of balance that out as nonfiction and fiction, even though it's very much like we're helping each other and supporting each other. Over the course of a year, we go through all the phases of production, and we do take our time. We have pre-production, which lasts a couple months, where that's the phase of writing treatments, writing scripts, all the in-between creative stuff in there. And then we have the pitching happen, where every single student typically will pitch a film, and only 4 of those films can get selected. So that's always a hard day. But we try to prepare the kids beforehand to know, like, the purpose of this class is beyond you just being the director. It's about learning how to be part of a crew. So once pitching happens and the films are selected, then crews are selected, and they then divide up into their crews and for the rest of the year kind of work together in those groups, going through pre-production with those films, production and post-production, and then ending with the premiere. I was the nonfiction film mentor for Sunflower Bebop. The experience was all over the place. It was very much like the way it started is not how it ended up. And every nonfiction is this way in its nature. But Sunflower Bebop was unique because the original director had a huge life crisis happen after his film being picked, and it's the kind of thing that, like, is hard to recover from. So the film ended up being dedicated to the friend that he lost, but eventually it became apparent that he was dealing with too much of an emotional crisis to remain the director of the film. So he was credited as the creator, but Wayra stepped up and filled the director role before it was even named, because she just saw that there was that void to be filled, and she filled it, and then we were able to name it. But it was definitely not a normal scenario for PitchNic, but for any film. It's like not a typical experience for a director to change. And it's not ideal, but honestly what Wayra brought to the film made it completely hers in honestly every way. What the film turned out as and what the film's meaning is, and also like who the subjects are and what they were speaking to, I feel like very much is within Wayra's voice. Working with Wayra on set was a joy. Wayra has a really innate ability to be present, just like immediately. And I think in order to be a nonfiction director, that is super necessary. And especially for a film like this, where in most cases you're meeting the subject for the first time on set when you're about to interview them about pretty deep things. She was very good at just like getting right into it and making the subject feel comfortable. Every single interview felt very like vulnerable, personal, and spiritual, to be honest. And very wholesome. Like, the way they'd always end is with a lot of laughter and joy coming from the subject and excitement. I feel like Sunflower Bebop is made up of like the poetry of life and the experience of feeling emotions. And whenever I watch it, I am always reminded of just like how free-flowing it is. And I think that's something that's really unique about it. Being able to mentor young artists through the creative process feels like an extreme privilege. It brings me a lot of joy, and it's also, it feels important because I know how difficult it can be to get through every stage of the artistic process, like at any age. And so having a support system to push you through and to even just be a cheerleader on the sidelines, I think goes a long way. What I would tell a future PitchNic student or someone who's wanting to get into PitchNic or wanting to go into filmmaking in general is the most important thing is that you have passion. All the other things can be taught, right? So it's like, if you have that burning desire within you, like, follow that. And that's all you need, because that's something that I can't give you. That's something that I don't think any other mentor can give you, that burning desire that comes from within. But what we like to see is kids who come in with that passion, with an image in their mind, whatever it is, and they don't know how to make it happen, but they want to. That's all that matters, because the rest can be taught, as most things.
We're looking for student-produced films and videos to feature on TV. Learn more at uen.org/studentsinfocus to have your media considered for an upcoming episode of Students in Focus. The PitchNic 2024 class recently had their premiere where they showcased all 4 films followed by a Q&A. The films will be going through festivals for the next year and will be released to the public in the fall of 2025. Let's watch the trailers for the films and get excited for their release.
You know, you keep going hard like that. Just watch. You're even playing cards with me.
I knew he was taking something, and I didn't say anything.
Hila wouldn't want you to stop playing.
It was my fault, Mom.
I don't believe in ghosts. Julian totally does, though. It's cute.
What about Camden?
Camden? Camden actually believes that he makes good content.
Yes!
Which is far more delusional than believing in ghosts.
Dancing on the moon to such a catchy tune. Calling my name. I'm floating.
My life is not my own. Feed me old promises until they begin to burn upon my skin. Let me breathe in your strength, then perhaps I may take the grace in which I can never uphold. I've taken your anger, it has tunneled my path. Where should I stand to navigate this road? Feed me your lies and don't withhold. You've given me yourself entirely, and yet I still do not feel worthy. Let me feel your pain, but must I feel selfish? Where do you go when it's too much to swallow? It's fair and unfair, a weight I could never explain. I am lost between guilt and always hollow. Hold my hand, mamá. Ilumina mi camino. No quiero más que ser tu hija.
Thanks again to Wayra and Loren for sharing their experience in the PitchNic program with us. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Students in Focus. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next episode. And you can check out past episodes at UEN Video. And hey, did I mention you can submit your project to be featured here on Students in Focus? See you next time.